welcome aboard, and let's have fun. All of us together for the next 3 hours, all right? But I'll tell you what we'd like to have you do. We're going to be together, and we're going to have a chuckle here or there and enjoy some great action. But supposing you just turn the volume down just a little bit, because, you know, there are members in the household, in all probability, that have worked hard all week, and now here it's Sunday morning, and they'd like to take an extra hour. So just turn the game down a little bit, because the parade, well, they'll all parade before your screen. Bozo, Gumby, Rocky, Wild Squirrel, the old sailor who never left the sea, Popeye the Sailor Man, and then to the old corral. And you know what that means. Buck Weaver and all his friends. And then the mighty man of steel that leaps tall buildings at a single bound. Superman. Dick Tracy will be here. The Three Stooges. Crazy Cat. And then, of course, another thrilling chapter of Nayoka and the Tiger Men. Have you had your breakfast yet? All right. Here's a thought for the first meal of the day. We always say that there are no secrets between us, so I've got to tell you this. It's not easy. It's right here in black and white. It says it all, but you follow through and you get an order. I don't know how you're going to feel about this, but I know how I feel. Your friendly, affable, fun-loving captain has received new orders. I'm being transferred. I'm to become the officer in charge of the Naval Reserve Recruiting Office on top of Pikes Peak. On the night shift. But I'll tell you, let's make the most of it, shall we? Not roll the film, because it's not very pleasant to see a strong man weep. Tigeroo, and it's Tigeroo, and since this is our last cruise together, I thought it just fitting and proper that I paid tribute to the devoted members of the crew, the finest crew that ever sailed under a master. And first, I'd like to pay a tribute to my first mate, the fabled Hugo P. Masterson, Jr. Hugo. I always called him Hugo, for that was his name. And he was not only a wonderful sailor, but he was a great man with a cue stick in his hand. I recall a night in the main salon aboard the SS Juan Marichal when Hugo stepped up to the pool table and ran off a string of 268 shots in a row. And it was a feat that was rendered even more remarkable in view of the fact that this was done during the midst of a typhoon. You know, a man's life takes many turns and twists. You know, I knew Hugo P. Masterson, Jr. for 10 years before I learned that his father's name was Hugo P. Masterson, Sr. Great man. While I'm recalling the stout men who have served with me down through the years, I most certainly have to pause and salute my second mate, Prentice Phelps. You know, Mr. Phelps was a strange man. Well, he mystified most of us. We often asked ourselves about Mr. Phelps. Why should a man with an IQ of 268 suddenly take to the sea at the age of 55? Briefly, the story. It's quite simple. Mr. Phelps' physician prescribed a change of atmosphere in the hope that it would remedy a rheumatic condition that Mr. Phelps had contracted in his right hip while walking about with a pocket full of wet change. And I'd say he was also having difficulty with the internal revenue department at the time. A strange man, but a good man, to be sure. We'll tell you more about him later, as we look in on Gumby once more. He, if I might state it bluntly, had a very checkered career. At one time, well, to go back even further than that, he was a very poor boy, and then he became a concert violinist. He won a football scholarship to the Juilliard School of Music. And I can remember, because the two events are tied in so closely, one night during the typhoon that I mentioned a short time back, he braved this storm that was rocking the boat as if it fell over on its side. And standing on the bridge, he took out his Stradivarius and played first, "I wouldn't trade the silver in my mother's hair for all the gold in the world." And then the rousing roundelay of "You'll Always Find Sunshine at the YMCA." In the meantime, Hugo P. Masterson was down in the salon running off 268 straight shots. Quite a man. Aboard this ship that in a short time will be mine no longer. I'm being transferred, you know. And, well, it's part of a Navy career. I think of some of the men we had. We had, at one time, strange enough, we had a Navajo Indian brave as a signal man. His name was Chief Andrew Jackson, but we never called him that. We called him Old Hickory. And he didn't know the Morse code. And he got by sending out smoke signals. And he would holler down to the stoker to send up a good, strong amount of smoke, and then he'd get an old Navajo blanket and "Oh, the Stooges are here. Gypped in the penthouse. Way up there. Picture a penthouse way up in the sky with hinges on chimneys for clouds to roll by. Sweet slice of heaven for just you and I when we're alone." I'll be in charge of the Naval Reserve Recruiting Office at top of the peak on the night shift. I found it hard to part with so many things that I picked up during my years at sea. Things that to me are priceless, of little value on a dollar and cent basis, but to me, priceless things. And yet, I can't take them all with me. The memories that they'll bring back, no doubt, as I look out down from that mountain peak will be so great that I couldn't do my job well. So I decided, and I've made a list of some of the things I'll give to the men who have served under me. My harpoon, that has served me so well in the South Atlantic, of course, I'll give to Hugo P. Masterson, Jr. My camel saddle, well, we have an Arabian buck, Jasmine. He'll find a use for it somewhere. And, of course, my scuba gear, Prentice Phelps admired it so great. Yes, he said this he'd like to have on his back. Oh, let's laugh it up a little bit. A little crazy cat. Let the revelry ring out. Well, you know, one of the things I won't be able to take with me is my shuffleboard stick and my own personalized puck. I think I'll make it a point to part with those because of his intense competitive spirit. They'll be given with proper ceremony to Roy, the cabin boy, and my straitjacket. I hope that your joy will know no bounds. Until some other time, then. Up to you.